If you don't know us, we're Snowline Gold. We're a gold exploration company based in the Yukon. This is a picture of our deposit. The Valley deposit is located just off the right side of that E on Snowline, in the middle of a big, broad, flat valley. So I'll be making some forward-looking statements. That's part of why we're so excited about what we have out there. And Snowline, we founded trying to build a principles-based company, really just based around environmental respect, building a company that's good for the Yukon. You know, as a Yukoner, that's important to me. So it's I grew up prospecting there, raising my family there. Now it's great to be able to be doing all of this right in my own backyard. Going big, we see the potential for world-class deposits in the Yukon, and I would argue that we've found one. And then, of course, doing things right. This is just the obligatory ESG slide if we're not actually holding ourselves to these things. And so, you know, we like to lead by example out there, and I think we've done a good job. The past 2 consecutive years, we've been recognized with environmental stewardship awards from the Yukon government and Yukon First Nations, as well as the Yukon Chamber of Mines. So very grateful for that, and happy with the team that's come together out there. So just a big picture view, we have a very large land position, about almost 3,600 square kilometers, or just over 3,600 square kilometers, mostly focused in the eastern Yukon, northwest of a place called McMillan Pass. And in just a few short years, we've come up with, from grassroots discovery to a very large resource, 4 million ounces indicated at 1.7 grams per ton, and an additional 3.3 million inferred at 1.25. So that's pretty exciting for just a first kick at the can. And we have a lot of targets left out there. We have a strong treasury, and as I mentioned, you know, we're lucky enough to be connecting in terms of the principles-based approach that we launched the company on. So here's just jumping right in. This is the Valley deposit. You can see it's kind of centrally located in our claim package. It's from surface, it's high-grade gold, very continuous in 3 dimensions. And you can see, looking at the labels on that, this is as of May of last year. That was 28,000 meters drilling into the target. And because it's so consistent, it came together very quickly with that resource, with most of it already in the indicated category. And we've since drilled another 25,000 meters on that. In total, that's about 53 kilometers of drilling. We've hit visible gold every 7.2 meters on average throughout all drilling on this deposit, including the dusters. So it's pretty exciting. And you can see any one of those drill holes would be a highlight hole in most systems. And Valley is just a continuous plug of mineralization at surface. This is a cross-section, so if you see those lines A to A prime, B to B prime, this is just kind of cutting through the deposit and looking at it. You can see what I mean there, just with the continuity of grade. It's basically a pit-shaped deposit, which is exactly, you know, what you might hope to find. This is 90 degrees to that view, looking at it the other way. The entire resource is just constrained by that blue line, which is at this point a hypothetical squiggle, but it's based on economic assumptions that go into factoring what you can actually call a resource and what is just mineralization, but not necessarily economical. And you can see on that picture on the left, the continuity of the mineralization. If you see those colored tags, that shows basically just high grade. That's the top 132 meters of one of the holes, average 5 grams per ton. You can look at those tags and you know there's not a dead sample in that entire run. It's just continuous high grade mineralization. And one thing we did with this resource as well is we broke it out, and you can see those black lines, those are kind of sub-pits, and that's just stages, just to emphasize that this is very top heavy. You can see that first pit, that shell 1, is basically all greater than, well, not all, but the majority of it is greater than 2 gram per ton material. And so if you actually break those numbers out on that table on the left, the top row, you can see you're looking at basically 2 million ounces indicated, an additional almost million ounces inferred in that pit with just 3 million tons of waste material. So, and then at the bottom you can see the life of mine. Those are the numbers that I spoke to earlier. Life of mine through that pit, and again, this is just an initial resource estimate. We've almost doubled the amount of drilling, and we'll have our final results out over the next few weeks, and then we'll be upgrading the resource, or updating the resource on the back of that. And but looking at the waste to mineralization ratio there, 0.9 to 1, which is very good, and some very conceptual forward-looking math, just to give an idea of what these numbers actually mean. We haven't done an economic analysis, but just in terms of looking at the assumption of 25,000 tons per day, that's a single shovel digging. It would take you 17.2 years to dig through that volume of rock. You'd be pulling out about 425,000 ounces per year through that 17 years. So that's already a very large output from a moderately sized operation here. And if you just look at what you're starting with, the waste mineralization ratio is 0.08 to 1. And you're basically looking at 4.3 years pulling out 689,000 ounces per year. And so again, these are qualitative, but still for context, Newmont's guidance, the biggest mining company in the world, gold mining company in the world, their guidance for 2024 was 6.9 million ounces. I don't think they're going to hit that. I'm not totally sure. We'll see what happens over the next few weeks. But nonetheless, you're looking at 10% of that with one shovel. And that's before they divested their tier 2 assets. So, that's pretty exciting for us at this stage. And to put that in context, in terms of that low strip or low waste to ore ratio, can't call it a strip because it's not a proper pit design yet. But Valley is very unique in that pit-shaped ore body with high grades at surface. And so if you look at the average grades of any open pit gold mine around the world, and you see how Valley stacks up against it once you adjust for the amount of, it's already good just in terms of the base grade, but when you look at the actual amount of material that you have to pull out of the ground, it's head and shoulders above other deposits globally. And if you put that starter pit, it's even better. So it's pretty exciting. There's a lot to take in on this slide, but ultimately you can see there's the rankings on the left. Fort Knox is the closest analog in terms of the type of system. And that starter pit at Fort Knox, it's about the fourth row down there. They started with 1 gram per ton material, 0.8 strip ratio for their first 5 years. You can see the first 4.5 years at Valley there, almost a different order of magnitude, and certainly an order of magnitude above a lot of things out there. So again, these are preliminary looks at it. This is not a qualitative slam dunk yet, but it's why we're so excited about what we have out there. And of course, when you have that high grade, when you have to move less rock, you get the same amount of gold. Well, you get more gold out, and you have to move less rock for a given amount of gold. So that just has a huge potential impact on margins and profitability. So it's exactly what you want to find when you're prospecting out there. As far as initial resource estimates go in Canada, it's among the top. And again, it was based on just 2 years of drilling, owing to the continuity and near-surface nature of the deposit. It's non-refractory, very strong recoveries from various conventional techniques. This resource estimate envisions a mill-only scenario, and there are potential ways to expand it beyond that. It's remote, but not inaccessible. We're about 30 kilometers from a heavy equipment route used to service past silver mines, and 75 kilometers from the North Canal Road, which is a Yukon government highway. Highway is a strong word, as you can see there, but still, it serves the purpose. Comparing that to other remote operating mines in Canada, or in the case of Goose, it's in development near term. It's actually a much better setup than a lot of these projects. So certainly we feel that hurdle is quite surmountable. And again, Valley was, I guess, the second kick at the can. We found some interesting orogenic mineralization at our Jupiter target in our first drill program. We have a lot of targets out there. We still have assays pending from the Aurelius target from 2024. And we have a lot in front of us for 2025 with 5 drills parked on site, ready to open up in May. It's going to be a big season for us. We have the treasury to go strong through 2025. Well, there you go. Yeah, $43 million in the treasury. Strong analyst coverage. Institutional ownership has really started taking off just recently. So I think we're just starting to get the word out there to kind of the bigger universe as people are starting to move into the space with the rising gold price. So it's an exciting place to be, and I think we have one of the better projects out there in the gold space. So certainly happy to chat with people if you have further questions on what we have out there. And I promise not to take too much of your time, so I'll just rush through these last through slides there. But a fantastic team out there. We've done a lot in a small amount of time, and a lot coming up. So please check out our website or come find me, come find members of our team around the conference, and happy to chat further. Thank you for your time.